everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is April, otherwise known as Like It Is, and today I'm going to be talking about something that affects me every day. And as a Disney lover and as a Disneyland, annual pass holder, or was an annual pass holder, 2021 is a little tricky. I'm going to be talking about the Disability Access Service, which is often really misinterpreted and people often get upset. I've dealt with this firsthand, so let's get into the conversation. DAS, otherwise known as the Disability Access Service. What is it? How does it work? How can you get it? So to start off, a lot of people often get really upset at people with the DAS because they expect or assume that they're skipping the line, cutting the line, or just getting in through the back exits and being allowed. That's not the case. And I really want to break the stigma of how this works. I myself stream a lot and have made vlogs over the years at my experience at Disney events and Disney parks. So I really want to get to tell you guys how it kind of works up until now in June of 2021. Well, May/June. But anyways, today I'm going to basically be talking about it. So first of all, what is a DAS? To start off, it is a pass for those who deal with disabilities and to have an equal and magical experience, to say the least. Essentially is if you have problems waiting in line for whatever reason that involves a disability, Disneyland has this pass called the DAS, or a return time as I like to call it, where they basically, you talk to them at a kiosk and let them know this is what's going on and this is why I cannot wait in like the normal type of lines. Can you help me out? And usually it goes well. So to start off, who can apply for these? Based on this article, I want to get it right so I don't spread any misinformation. And these articles will be in the description of the video. So if you guys want to check them out firsthand, I'll have them there as well. The DAS is for anyone that cannot wait in a normal line and often is given to someone with a chronic illness, a physical disability, an injury, a cognitive disability, a developmental disability like autism. And I've gotten a lot of questions regarding autism. So yes, as of what I see here, because I only obviously have dealt with my disability, and I'll get into what I have in a minute. Now, in my personal experience, I use the DAS because I have something called irritable bowel syndrome, which is a chronic digestive issue, which basically, to put it short, is I have to use the restroom a lot and my stomach gets upset, so I can't usually wait in normal lines. And the thing is, with my disability, IBS, usually it's stress and the stomach combined. So when I'm stressed out, my stomach acts up, which means I usually have to run to the restroom. Another reason I use the DAS, because I like to be pretty upfront with you guys, is I have panic attacks and anxiety. And in small spaces clustered with people, sometimes I tend to panic. And, with the IBS and all that, it just ends up being bad, which is why I use the DAS. So when you ask me that question, that's basically to put it short. So, in my experience using the DAS or return times, this is how it basically goes. This is the rundown, how I've dealt with it. And I've been an annual pass holder over the years. And obviously right now we don't have annual passes in California, but we're dealing with it. So basically, when you get into the parks, you have to go to something called like an information kiosk or City Hall for the Disneyland side. Basically, I'll put a map right now on all the locations as of right now of where all the informational kiosks are. As for the Disneyland side, the first guest service stand you will find is located in City Hall to the left as soon as you enter the park. Toward the middle of Disneyland, where the Walt and Mickey statue stands, you will find another guest service booth that is located near the entrances of Frontierland and Adventureland. Starting New Orleans Square in Critter Country, you will find another guest service stand in front of the exit of Haunted Mansion. As of this recording, this is the latest Google Disneyland map I could find. However, I do know regarding Galaxy's Edge, there is another guest service booth in front of the entrance toward Frontierland, which is located here. Into Fantasyland, there is another guest service booth in front of Dumbo toward the left and in front of the carousel. As for Tomorrowland, I believe it's in front of Astro Orbiters. However, I feel like it moved a little bit, but it's relatively in the same area. And as for all the locations on this map, the Disney cast members will let you know where all of them are the day you go to Disneyland and let them know you need a DAS. Moving on to Disneyland California Adventure, you can find the first guest service booth in Buena Vista Street as soon as you enter to the left, as seen here. At the end of Buena Vista Street, you will see a fountain, and to the right of this fountain, you'll find another guest service booth. To the left of the entrance of Carsland, you will also be able to find a guest service booth. As for Pixar Pier, you can also find a guest service booth across from Jesse's Critter Carousel. Basically, you just gotta talk to a cast member and let them know why it is you need a DAS and what your disabilities are. Now, note, in my past experiences, most cast members have been completely cool and really helped me out and not feel stressed out or embarrassed. However, I have dealt with one or two cast members over the year that made it a little difficult, and I really had to be firm and just really put my point across, like, listen, this is what I deal with. But for the most part, it'll be a pretty chill. Just be sure that you are, you don't have to disclose everything. However, what I would recommend is just knowing what you need. Be sure that you understand and make it known to the cast members so they can accommodate you for everything you need. And usually all the cast members are amazing. Okay, so now we have the DAS. What to do with it now? So basically, once you sign all the agreement, it's not like signing. You just like tap it and like virtually, like they give you like this form basically going over like the terms of service and all of that for their service, and then that's it. You click that, they scan your ticket, including all your party, and you're ready to go. You have a DAS, otherwise known as a return time. For right now, I'm gonna be calling it a return time. You got your return time. Now what do? So as well as the cast member talking to you, you guys will both be on the same page by now. So let's work from here. Now that you got your return time, it's all magical vibes from there. You get to decide what type of ride you want to go and have fun at either park. If you have a park hopper, it works at both parks, so you don't have to. In my experience, if you got, let's say you talk to someone at an informational kiosk at Disneyland, you don't have to do it again at California Adventure. It automatically transfers. As long as the day you registered for the DAS, I believe with just a normal ticket or a park hopper, it's like a 14 days that you don't have to do it again. And I believe when I had my annual pass, the DAS lasted for 60 days before it had to be renewed. With that being said, you got your return time. Now it's time for the magical vibes. Basically, all you have to do from there is tell the cast member what ride you want to ride, and they will put you in a virtual queue, which is usually the amount of time that the line is at. So, for example, if Space Mountain is 25 minutes, you will wait 25 minutes outside of the line. So this is why when I say people are cutting in line, or people say that, hey, why are you skipping the line? That's not fair. I waited 3 hours. No, that's not the case, because you just waited outside of the line in a virtual queue. A thing I've noticed is, although most of the time it is what the ride says, for example, if my return time says 25 minutes, it's usually 25 minutes. However, I have noticed on those days where it's less busy, it tends to be shorter. I've noticed this. I don't know if it's like all the time, but in my personal experience, I've had it where it's like 25 minutes, maybe it's like 20 minutes. Not that much different, but it just varies on the busyness of the day. But yeah, you basically wait in a little queue outside of the line, which is great. And it really takes stress off of everyone in your party and yourself. It just makes it way less stressful. So you got your return time, you got your ride you want to go ride. What do you do in the meanwhile? You got 25 minutes to spare? Well, that's up to you. And that's the beauty of Disneyland. They give you the chance to enjoy the park without the hassle of waiting in the line that stresses you out due to your disability. And for me, it's just so literally a blessing. Like when I found out about this, I struggled for like 2 years not knowing about the DAS, and when I found out, it was a life changer, let me tell you. So in those 25 minutes, you can do whatever you want. You can go grab a bite to eat. You could go, look at the characters, just walk around the park, do anything. And the thing is, after those 25 minutes of your return time, you go to your ride, and they usually either, I've seen it, it's happened 2 ways. In my experience, you either go through the fast pass line, or you go through like a back exit. So where the exit of the ride is, you might go through there, or the fast pass line, unless there has to be special accommodations, which they'll let you know when you get your return time. And so, yeah, that's basically it. You go through the back entry or through the fast pass line, and you're in the ride, and you're having a magical experience without all the stress that is in a normal line. And for me, this has truly been a lifesaver. So one thing I would say for everyone else who's watching and has gotten this far that doesn't actually deal with the disability pass, how can you help? How can you make this even easier, because as well as it being a complete stress, like for the most part, a stress-free process, you also have to deal with people staring at you and being kind of upset, especially when it's those summer days and they're waiting for 3 hours and you just pull up in the fast pass line when there's no fast pass, and they're like, what the heck? Why do they get to go? And that's just something you got to understand. People are going to be people. But if you're watching this and you don't deal with disabilities, thank you, first of all, for taking the time to watch this. But the way you can help is break the stigma. Hey, they're just riding like everyone else, Include everybody. Everyone's the same. We just, have to enter the ride in a different fashion. So please, whatever you do as well, don't assume. That's like the biggest thing. Don't assume they're cutting in line. Don't assume that they're, doing something they're not supposed to be, because that's why the cast members are there. Just know if the cast members are allowing it, it's usually fine. And a lot of questions I get asked is, do you have to show proof of your medical disability? And the answer to that is 1, no. And 2, from what I've understood, they don't have the right to ask you for that because they're not like medical personnel. They usually take everyone's word for it. However, they do ask you a few questions to make sure, obviously, that you're not lying. But they're usually pretty understanding and you don't have to show anything. Now, for me, I know with dealing with this one cast member that really questioned me and made me feel a little upset one time, I ended up asking my doctor for a doctor's note with basically listed what disabilities I needed help for. I've never had to use it. It's just something that gives me relief is having a doctor's note with me. But by any means, you do not have to use that. You don't. It's just a relief for me. Another thing I would say is just take it easy. I mean, you're there to have a magical time. Disneyland is super cool about it and has really done a great job of us feeling included. And I would say is a second tip is use fast passes. I know right now during 2021 of May and June, there are no fast passes. But at the time that you're watching this, if fast passes are available, use those because they're usually just the same as disability passes. So what I usually do to comfort myself is I will get my return time and walk around and just feel relaxed in the ambience of Disney. It's magical. It's cool. But if there's fast passes, I'll also get a fast pass. So while my return time's waiting, I have a fast pass. So I'll either be eating or walking around the park, doing character meet and greets, shopping, and then I'll go to my return time. And then after my return time, guess what? The fast pass is open. So you could go to another ride. And then on your way to the other ride, you stop at an informational kiosk and ask for a return time. And boom, you get 2 back-to-back rides, which is always fun. So being said, if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I'm April, and I will see all you guys in the next one.